Step into the incense and whiskey sanctuary with mindfulness enthusiasts and verified whiskey lovers, Mecca and Ashley, as they discuss all the random topics they love, from mindfulness to memes. This is Ashley.
And this is Mecca.
It's fall, y'all.
It is fall. Happy fall, Ashley.
Happy fall. It is my favorite season for sure.
Absolutely. I was born in the fall. September's my favorite month. I love it. I love the transition.
I never like wishing the summer away, but come Labor Day, I am a real happy camper. I love fall fashion. I love fall foods. I love the leaves changing colors. It is everything to me. So I wanted to say, now that we're changing seasons, it may be a good time to think about resetting ourselves and going into a fall detox. Have you ever done a fall detox or thought about doing a detox with the season change?
Yeah, I actually, because there's only, doing them every quarter for me is something that I actually practice anyway. And that detox could be, it not necessarily equates to food, but it could be a detox from digital products. It could be a detox from TV. It could be a detox from doing a certain thing that I was doing all year or all quarter. So I think it makes sense to do a detox, every season or every quarter, however you want to look at it, as a reset for each season.
I'm glad you said that, Mecca, because I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, maybe there's 3 different reasons that I see to do a fall detox. The first is the change in season provides a natural opportunity for us to cleanse our minds, rest our bodies, kind of what you were describing. The other thing is our tastes and the foods we eat change with the turn of the seasons, right? So
Right.
eating warmer foods, that type of thing. And then I believe a fall detox will also help to prepare our immune systems and get ready for, the potential exposures that could come in the winter time, in the colder months. So I think it's a great time to think about detoxing and refreshing ourselves.
Right, I agree. And I also feel like with the fall detox, you're kind of like, you typically, I know it's different this year, but typically, the summertime, we would have been out. We probably would have been drinking a little bit more, maybe gorging into foods that, summertime foods, a lot of cookouts, a lot of grill outs. So maybe, eating in a different way. But then, like you said, in the fall, so in the summertime, we kind of look at lighter food. Then in the fall, we look at like a little bit comfort, heavier foods, right? So then making that transition to those warmer comfort type foods is also a good idea. And doing a detox any season, I think, is a good idea. But specifically for fall, this time we are in the middle of, we're about to probably hibernate. This is like our hibernation time, right?
We've already been in hibernation.
I know.
So now we're about to go like deep in the hibernation.
Yeah, this is the natural occurring hibernation that we would have had typically.
Right.
We've kind of been forced into one this whole year. Well, at least starting in February, March, but now we're going into the natural organic hibernation that we would have gone into.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's been, I think, a little bit warmer here as of late. So some of that summer temperature is kind of lingering. So it doesn't quite feel like we're 100% there. So there's some days I feel more fall than others. So it's this interesting transition time. You welcome it?
I welcome it. You guys don't know this, but we're in Chicago, Illinois. So, I always say I don't think Chicago gets all 4 seasons. And right now, we're still enjoying holding on to the last few days of summer, because that fall weather, literally, there is no like lead up to. It just goes hot, cold.
That's true.
And so I'm welcoming this linger that we have right now. I'm also hoping that we actually experience a real fall. Maybe like the world has reset and we get to really experience what a fall is like in Chicago. I mean, yes, we have the
Ah,
fall, but it doesn't last like a season. It's like we can put a time limit on it. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, honestly.
that's true. That is true. And maybe that's why I love it so much, because we only have it for a little bit. That
Right.
sweet in between phase. That's probably the only time in my life where I'm like, okay, that we're in a gray area. It's not quite hot, not quite cold. It's probably
Right.
the only time in my life.
Right.
I love it. I love
Do you
it.
have any suggestions on detoxing that we could do?
I love a good detox tea. I don't have a specific brand or anything like that. I love a good detox tea, trying to clean up the diet. Maybe I may minimize dairy for myself personally.
Mhm.
That always tends to make me feel a little bit more refreshed and cleaned out. But I do love cheese. Don't get me wrong. When I return to it, usually, you get holiday parties and
Right.
cocktail events and things. It may be
Did not
different
happen
in
as much
the
this year.
right this year. Um, but I do like a good detox tea, and I think that helps me feel reset in my system. I'm upping my water intake these days. They say you should drink half of your body weight in water. So I'm really trying to commit to those good habits as we enter the final months of the year, because I like to end the year the way that I want to. And I see fall as a natural reminder of, hey, there's only a few
Mhm.
months left in this year.
Yeah,
So that's kind of how I look at it.
that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, it's a time of renewal for me.
Yeah, it's like my New Year's because I was born in September, so I kind of look at it as like my New Year's,
Yeah, for
my
sure.
new piece of it.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think those are all good things. Teas, either deciding to cut out limiting or cutting out a food group that may not agree with you all the time. Those are all
Mhm.
good pieces. And, just also leaning towards what's in season for these months, right? When you eat in season, you also create a balance with yourself too. So, if apples and oranges are the fall. Well, oranges are summertime too, but apples is definitely signifies fall for certain types
Mhm.
of apples. So just kind of making sure you eat for the season. Like what's in season, that's what's the best things to eat. Of course, we have a variety of everything, but when you eat towards the season, you always end up on the right side of a detox as well.
Right. Would you say that's because you're getting some of the like freshest vegetables and fruits because it's in season, or
Right,
oh, you
exactly.
mean
Yeah,
got
so
it.
like if people are like in this eating close to home kind of mode, meaning that they want to eat foods that are not completely transported and don't have this delivery time on them. Like for
Mhm.
example, pineapples would have a delivery time on them right now. They're not in season here in Illinois or in parts of the United States. So just kind of like lending yourself to the foods that naturally grow and harvest in the season is a good way to kind of start creating a foundation for your detox.
That makes sense to me. Absolutely. Do you have any special um, meditation or skincare or body routines at this time of the year when you're fall detoxing?
I would say my skincare, I don't technically have an entire skincare um, regimen. I do have facial skincare. So this is the time of the year where I go to heavier moisturizers and shea butters and coconut oils for me because my
Hmm.
skin tends to get really dry. So, right here as a good example, you can't see me, but I mean, I have my two, I always invest in two types of shea butters. One that's whipped, hand
Okay.
um, that's easy to slob on, and then there's one that's not whipped that has more like healing properties in it that I use.
Oh,
So I'd use both of them because they both serve a different purpose for me in the wintertime, and my skin needs a lot of attention in the fall weather. So there's a whole regimen that goes with my body skin, not necessarily my facial skin, um, but yeah. And I mean,
you,
meditation is just I like to meditate, but you do want to kind of like figure out your balance when you are transitioning into a season. So there's like these like, meditations you can kind of create around the seasons changing. Sure.
I like that idea. And I've never quite heard of shea butters with healing properties. So
Oh, okay.
that's definitely.
Yeah, it's a brand that I love. It's called Kiss by a Bee. She's out of Spring Hill, Texas, or Spring, Texas. This one has hemp, evening primrose, red palm, St. John wort's, vitamin E. She used condoleezza. Condoleezza, it's like a flower petal, and she uses plantain. And so this one is called eczema butter. So it's for extremely dry skin and anyone that may suffer from eczema. Um,
Hmm.
in the wintertime, which I do. So, and it's not whipped. So this is one that you have to put in your hand, let it melt, down, and then apply it to your skin. But this one
Ah,
is just ready to go. I like that one. Hannah Beauty is another one that I like.
okay. All right. Well, we got our detox for the fall going. I'm going to revisit my meditation situation for the transition.
Right, for the transition. All right, thanks for the fall detox tips. Hey, Ashley, talking about like this fall detox and the change of the seasons, that I would also imagine that kind of means that we are eating in a way that's aligned to our body. And there's this term that I've been hearing lately called mindful eating. Do you know anything about mindful eating?
Yeah, so mindful eating is defined as maintaining an in the moment awareness of the food that you eat and what you're drinking, what you're putting into your body, observing rather than judging how the food makes you feel, and the signals your body sends
Mm,
about things like taste, satisfaction, and fullness. So that is the sort of operational definition of mindful eating. And I can give you a little bit more detail on how to achieve mindful eating. Is that
yeah,
something that you're interested in?
yeah. Like, give us a kind of an example of how you fold this into your daily routine.
Yeah. So the first time that I heard about mindful eating was actually during a Buddhist yoga focused retreat with some of my family members. And in the lunch break, we actually had a little mini tutorial over mindful eating. So I'll summarize here some of the steps associated with mindful eating. This is not a comprehensive list, but some of the things that I noted and sort of keep in my mind.
Okay.
So the first is that you want to listen to your body and stop eating when you're full. And that means that when we're eating, our bodies tell us when we should eat, right? You sense that you have low energy or your stomach is growling. Those are the times that you want to focus your eating around.
What if you just
Um,
eat because you're bored?
well, that's emotional eating, I think, or it could be a form of emotional eating, which we could talk about definitely. But in mindful eating, you're really trying to be more aware of your body and
Mm,
its
okay.
needs, right? Um, you're eating with others at set times and places, or maybe by yourself at set times and places. For example, my husband and I typically eat our meals together around the same times when possible around at a table.
Okay.
Um, we don't sit at the couch or anything like that. We actually sit at our dining table
You just be
together.
in the moment, be
Mm-hmm.
present with each other. Okay.
Very present. Eating foods that are nutritionally healthy for us. So, as we were talking about earlier, sometimes eating seasonally will allow for us to get the freshest fruits and vegetables. When you're eating, just eat. Don't be watching TV or reading articles, scrolling through Instagram. I know I've been a victim and done not a victim, I've done all of these things. And trying to clear them up, right? Like
That's
it's
called
very easy.
multitasking. Yeah.
It's multitasking for sure, but mindful eating really calls for us to focus on what we're eating, because then when you're just doing that, you're more attuned to your body and can more quickly sense your fullness, right? And
Right.
less likely to just be eating quickly while you're watching something and not really be aware of what you're eating or how your body's responding to it. For example, you could be eating some spices or food that doesn't settle well with you, and you're
Mhm.
less likely to pick up on it when you're distracted by
Oh,
television or
that's a good
something
point.
else, right?
Right.
And
That's a
yet,
good point.
and then the other factor of it is considering where your food is coming from, right? So, did you pick some things up at the farmer's market? Where was that sourced from? What, that type of thing. Are
Right.
you eating processed food? What was the process involved in that? It just is, I think, more of a slowing down and being attentive to what you're consuming and the interaction between that food and your body,
Mm.
and a level of awareness around it. So those are what I would summarize as the steps of mindful eating. What do you think about that?
I like that. I mean, it kind of sounds. It sounds like it's, we can use the word mindful, intuitive, thoughtful, all of those terms to be conscious in your eating. The one thing I would say I'm not victim. I almost use your word. I am guilty of is eating in the car. I'll grab
Really?
something. Yeah, sometimes I'll be, if I'm out and I'm like been doing stuff all day or working all day, I go grab, maybe I'm going to a Chick-fil-A, or maybe I'm going to some type of drive-through. And none of this is like, I'm not saying that this is good, but it's me not being mindful. If I grab food and then don't even wait till I get home, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry now, and I'll eat. So now I haven't done that in a long time, but I started becoming conscious of like, girls, have a seat,
Mm-hmm.
have a proper sit down at a table with silverware and a plate, to really just be into like your food and consciously thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you brought up
what?
intuitive eating because I did some research around that too. And I do think that they're very similar with maybe a slight nuance. So, intuitive eating is defined as a philosophy of eating that is supposed to lead you to be an expert of your body and its hunger signals.
Right.
So, very similar. I think maybe there's a little bit of a nuance, whereas I think mindful eating is more about being present and aware about the effects of the food on your body, in addition to responding to when your body is, desiring nutrients or fuel, for example. I think intuitive eating has some slightly different principles, right? And it's kind of based around
Okay.
rejecting the diet mentality and the idea that there's a diet out there that will work for you.
Gotcha. Okay. I see.
Hunger is not your enemy. Make peace with food. That type of thing, respecting your fullness. So I think that it's a little bit of a difference, but certainly very similar, with some nuance there. But there's certainly benefits to both, right? The idea is
Yeah.
that you're making healthier choices about what you eat and when you eat. I know for me, eating earlier in the day and finishing my last meal around 7 or 7:30, I feel immensely better in the morning and less sluggish, more energized, because I've had that period between when I finished my dinner time meal and woke up, that fasting period, a certain number of hours. It just makes me feel like I'm restarting and refreshed. And then also, improving your digestion because you're being mindful about what you're eating and you're pacing yourself while you're doing it. So there's definitely combined benefits of both. So I'm glad you brought that up.
All right.
You want to sit down and try to work out a schedule or a place that you're going to be consistently eating.
All right. So
Turn off the
schedule,
distractions.
no dish.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
yeah,
Those are some
definitely.
quick points on how to incorporate mindful eating into your daily routine. And it's not something that's hard to do. It's just something that you're actually thinking about. And it's, a process, the same way we think about what we put into our homes, what we put into our bodies is another way of just a form of self-care.
Absolutely.
So Ashley, as we talk about like detoxes for the fall, mindful eating, and mindful eating doesn't necessarily have to happen in the fall. It's something that you should practice just on a regular basis. Um, it kind of, it all kind of goes to this new season that we're entering, which is fall, the fourth quarter, the end of the year. We've all, like, I guess twice a year we celebrated equinox, or some people celebrate it if you even know what it is. And we just experienced a fall autumn equinox on September 22nd.
Okay.
So just to like break it down, an equinox is basically, you know, I can give it to you in a scientific way, which is like it's when the sun crosses the celestial equator to enter the sky's northern hemisphere. And so that happens twice a year. And that kind of means, on layman's terms, equal, right? Your day and night are equal. And so twice a year, your day and your night is equal. And then after that, for fall or autumn equinox, the days are shorter, the nights are longer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it goes. So as we're going into the dark half of the year, that's what some people call it. So basically, again, it just means equal night and equal day on that one specific day, right?
Wow, I never knew
So
that.
one of the things that, you know, we kind of talked about moon rituals, being a full moon or new moon. There's always some type of ritual that goes with the change of, you know, our planets, our astrology. And one of the pieces with the equinox is it signifies a change, and it signifies a change with the way we see, like the way we experience the daylight or the night. That's how it signifies change for us. So, you know, that one day when it's both equal is the start of this fall equinox. So then after that, if our days are shorter and our nights are longer, that's almost considered a hibernation season.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to what you brought up about our detoxing, our mindful eating, this is always to kind of like make this transition. So when this happens, it's, you know, the world kind of wants us to celebrate autumn rituals with pumpkin spice lattes and sweaters and, you know, the leaves, which are all great, but those aren't necessarily like, you know, equinox rituals. And everyone
Oh,
celebrates a
those
different.
are my favorite things.
It's not a bad thing. It's just that is a very light way of saying, oh, that's a light way of signaling to it's fall. You know, you start seeing pumpkin spice latte teas and and drinks and cakes. Everything is pumpkin spice latte, pumpkin pies, and none of that's bad. That all equates to fall. You know, it's sweater season. The colors of the leaves are changing. The weather is changing. But there's some other fun things that you can do um, to celebrate the autumn
Oh, I mean,
equinox.
what are they? What are the other things I can do? Because you know, I've already got my sweaters out.
I
I
know.
got my pumpkin chai tea.
You can have
You
your pumpkin
know,
latte. I love it. I mean, there's all these different flavors that come out for everything. Maybe it's a
yeah,
limited time for this new drink mix you like, or cookie,
right.
or whatever. It's
Like
always
summer is
something.
watermelon cucumber, and
Exactly,
fall
exactly,
is pumpkin spice everything.
absolutely.
Okay, but what are some of the deeper? Tell us more.
And so, like, it's one of those things. It's all about balance. You know, that equinox shows us day and night are the equal, and so your body is more aligned, and you can manifest better when you are in balance. So that day signifies a balance. So one of the good things that you can start doing is kind of reviewing what's out of balance. The sun is passing directly over the Earth's equator, causing the day and the night to be equal. Balance naturally happens on this day. So use this energy to tweak areas in your life that are out of balance and celebrate the areas that are in balance. So, you know, you may say, oh, I'm not getting enough sleep. That's out of balance. Perhaps I'm not eating the right food. That's out of balance. So
Mm-hmm.
just figuring out what you can do to make that adjustment so you can bring your body and your life back into balance.
Okay.
So that's one piece of it. You can also meditate. We always talk about this, to meditate to get in the right mindset of the new cycle, asking for peace, harvesting, um, you know, just get into a positive mindset right before we go into this hibernating. Again, the natural hibernation that's being brought to us. You can let go and release. We've talked about this in some of the moon rituals. But, one of the things is it's time for harvesting. And that means we're kind of like going around gathering things. Maybe you're gathering your home decor. Maybe you're gathering special like ingredients because you're getting ready for the holidays. Or you're just kind of like gathering things so you can be comfortable in your home during this season. So it's also time for just figuring out what you need to let go. And that letting go could be, what's holding you back. This year, what is one thing that kind of held you back from getting to the next level that you wanted to go to? What are some internal stories that you're telling yourself that you've outgrown? I feel like this year has been a good time for us to like really reflect because again, we had this hibernation that was forced on us. So some people really had a chance to like dive deep into that. Thinking about like, have you fallen into any unhealthy habits and what do you need to let go? Are there any unhealthy relationships that you need to like address or let go? A lot of this might have happened actually this year prior to fall equinox, autumn equinox, because we had the time, regardless if we wanted to dive into it or not. So those are just some ways that you can kind of signify it for yourself. Yes, you can go ahead and start pumpkining up your place. All these stores now have these fun pumpkins that are on sale. Or at least
Wait, I'm stuck on you can start pumpkining up your house.
Well, because you have to also think about, regardless of if it's almost like what can I do on a very simple level to celebrate fall or to signify my brain that is fall. And I do realize that, meditating or creating a gratitude list, because that's the other thing I would say, creating a gratitude list so you can really just think about what your, Thanksgiving is even in November, like thinking about what you are grateful for, getting yourself back in balance. Those are some dive deep, those aren't some popcorn, Pop-Tart kind of actions. And I think that that's something that you can do on a deeper level. I think it's important, but also, not to just take it all away. You can also pumpkin up your house, pumpkin up your life,
definitely.
Whatever the fall symbol of fruit or food or drinks, signifies fall for you, do that. I just kind of feel like we have had the opportunity to think a lot about life, and honoring the seasons that come in is one of them. Being it fall, winter, spring, summer, like just honoring them. Mother Earth is putting it out here. We actually get a chance to like experience the earth and its natural habitat state. So yeah, like just whatever it is that you need to do to signify this transition is what I recommend.
I love that. Thank you so much for making it make sense. The autumn equinox.
Yes. You are welcome.
All right, we have discussed the fall detox, mindful eating, the autumn equinox. And before you start your detox, we got one little fall recipe we wanted to share with you all as you sit down and plan out your next few months. You may want to have a little drink. I am going to walk you through a whiskey apple sidecar. Ooh, Mecca, have you ever had a sidecar before?
I had a sidecar, and it's one of those things that I'm always like, why is it called a sidecar? What's in it? Like, you'll have this drink. They'll say, oh, here's your drink and here's your sidecar.
Oh, I've never heard that phrase before. Here's your drink and your sidecar. Well, that makes sense because this recipe calls for 1 cup of whiskey of your choice, a half a cup of frozen apple juice concentrate, 1/4 cup of orange liqueur, 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, ice, and some thin apple slices. So what you're going to do is take a cocktail shaker, combine the whiskey, frozen apple juice concentrate, orange liqueur, and lemon juice. Fill that with ice, shake it up, and then strain into 4 chilled martini glasses or whatever glasses you have available. I know. I'm gonna have to make this for us, Mecca, because I have all these martini glasses that I've probably used one time in my lifetime of having them. So we're gonna have this, and garnish it with apple slices.
Oh,
So I like a good garnish when you're having a cocktail like this because it makes it more, in my view, celebratory. So that's your whiskey apple sidecar.
I love it. I mean, that drink is so warming, and it's earthy, it's sweet. It's one of those perfect kind of drinks that can signify the new season for you.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
okay, I love this idea, and this recipe is going to be posted on our IG as well. And please tag us um, if you actually make the drink. Okay, I just got to go back to sidecar again. Are
Okay.
sidecars, no matter what, they're a part of the same in each, like, if there's a sidecar for a vodka drink, a sidecar for a whiskey or a bourbon, like, is it always the same ingredients for the sidecar, or does it change per drink?
I think the ingredients change per drink, but I believe the concept is that you're combining your liquor with some sort of liqueur and
Mm,
accompaniment. I do believe that,
okay.
but the ingredients can change.
Okay. All right. So that's good to know. All
Yeah,
right.
so we'll have to pull
So
out another sidecar recipe for everybody in one
yeah,
of
I
our
like
future
that.
episodes.
I like that.
Okay.
Catch us next time on Incense and Whiskey.
In the meantime, take a breath, have a sip.